Okay, Assalamualaikum to all of you. Okay, today I'm going to move to chapter 3, which is the global context of business. Okay, in this chapter, we will discuss overall dynamic nature of the international business and how it is shaped by social, by culture, by economics, legal, and political differences among the nations. Okay, so we will look on the rise of international business and describe the major world marketplace, the trade agreements, and also the alliances. And also we will discuss about how the difference between import and export and the exchange rates and the foreign competitions determine ways of which the countries and business respond in international environment, and also the factors which involved in deciding to the business internationally. Okay, which is select the appropriate level of international involvement and also international organizational structure. Okay, so in the global market has evolved into major world marketplaces held together by the trade agreements and also alliances. So a number of factors affect how countries and business respond to the international environments. Okay, so manager and entrepreneur have to find themselves where to challenge by the numbers of factors that influence their international involvement. Okay, so in this chapter, of course, you after you reading this chapter, you should be able to answer all the questions. Okay. Okay. Before I start, in this chapter, they have four parts, which is the first part is contemporary global economy, which is about the major world marketplaces and also the trade agreements and alliances. The part 2 will discuss about the international trade. In international trade, we will talk about the exchange rates, the form of competitive advantage. Okay, and the part 3, which is discuss about international business management, which is talk about going international, level of international involvement, international organization structure. Okay, and international organization structures. And the part 4, which is the last part in this chapter, is talk about barriers to international trade. So in this part is talk about social and cultural differences, economy differences, and also legal and political differences. Okay, so now I can start for the first slide, which is talk about the globalization. Okay, globalization. Okay, the world economy is becoming a single independent system through a process of globalization. Okay, globalization is when you are a single independent in the system, which is you conquer the international system. Okay, so for example, like the globalization company who involved in globalization, which is McDonald's. Okay, you can see everywhere got McDonald. Okay, you go to Singapore, they have McDonald. You go to India, they got McDonald. You go to European country, they got McDonald's. Okay, and also Microsoft. Okay, it is stated in your textbook, which is page 135. Okay, 135. Okay, so over here, Apple or Starbucks is everywhere, you can see. Okay, so that's called one of example of the globalization firm. Okay, so okay, next slide is talk about import and export. Import and export. Import, in stated in your slide, is product made or grown abroad but sold domestically. Okay, however, export is product made or grown domestically but shipped and sold abroad. Okay, so export is actually produced domestically and you sell your product or service abroad to other countries. Okay, import where you produce but you sell your product inside the countries. That's the difference between import and export. Okay, and then next slide is talk about governments and okay governments and business government and business are more aware of the benefits of globalization to business and shareholders. Okay, so new technology have made travel, communication and commerce faster and cheaper. Yes, it's true. You see, with the new technology and then the have made the international travel, communication and commerce faster and cheaper than ever. So for example, like international travel, okay, technologies kita tengok sekarang, flight dah apa, with the high technologies you can travel everywhere, or you can travel by plane, and you can travel by train also. Okay, boleh sampai to one country to another country. And also communications, you can communicate with the high technology nowadays. You tak perlu fly to one country to another country, just communicate through by using the high technologies. For example, like we use Zoom, for example, here. And then commerce is faster. Okay, and next is sometimes a firm must expand into foreign markets simply to keep up the competitors. Okay, next is distinctions based on wealth. Okay, so manager involved with international business need to have a solid understanding of the global economy, including the major world marketplaces. Okay, so here is talk about distinction based on wealth. Okay, the World Bank use per capita income to make distinctions among countries. Okay, which is current classification, which is high income countries. We have four types, which is high income countries, upper middle income countries, lower middle income countries, and so low income countries. Okay, it's also stated in your textbook that high income countries, those with annual per capita income greater than $11,115. Upper middle income country, those with annual per capita income of 11,115 or less but more than $3,595. Okay, lower middle income countries, those with the annual per capita income of 3,595 or lower but more than $905. Low income countries we often call as developing countries. Okay, those with the annual per capita income is $905 or less. Okay, so normally high income countries, for example, like Switzerland, Norway, UK, US, Singapore. Upper middle income countries like us, like Malaysia, we are upper middle income countries. Sri Lanka, Maldives, Turkey are upper middle income countries. Low middle income countries like Cambodia, Algeria, Bangladesh, Egypt. Okay, and low income countries, for example, like as Afghanistan, Bangladesh, also we call as a low income countries. Kenya, Myanmar, and so on. Okay, so next is geographic cluster. Okay, geographic clusters, they have three parts of geographic cluster, which is North America, Europe, and Pacific Asia. Okay, the world economy revolves around three major marketplaces, okay, which is North America, Europe, and Pacific Asia. In general, this cluster include relatively more of the upper middle and high income nations, but relatively few low and lower middle income countries. Okay, so in this part, the North America is the world largest marketplace and most stable economy. Okay, Europe includes both Western and Eastern region. The European Union now, they have integrated all regions of Europe. okay, creating a larger unified marketplace. However, though Japan has dominated Pacific Asia, other important commerce centers, which includes China, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, South Korea, Taiwan, and the Philippines, and also Australia. So China, the world's most densely populated country now, okay, with the burst of the world third largest economy, and also behind only the European Union and also the United States. Okay, so the trade, okay, this now already talk about the North America. North America, example like US, Canada, Denmark, Mexico. European, which is Russia, Ukraine, Spain, Sweden, Norway, Germany, Finland, Poland, Italy, and so on. Pacific Asia, which is Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore, Indonesia, Australia, and so on. Okay, so here, okay, now the trade agreements and alliances. Okay, this is talk about the agreements, trade agreements. Okay, the trade agreements, virtually every nation has formed treaties with the other nation to promote free trade. Okay, so no country is totally self-sufficient. Every country relies on import and also exports. Okay, that's why they have trade agreements. Okay, so first is talk about North America Free Trade Agreement, which is NAFTA. This agreement is to gradually eliminate tariff and also other trade barriers among the United States, Canada, and also Mexico. Okay, it include agreements. It's not only agreements of the free trade. It's also include agreements on environmental issues and also labor abuse. Okay, NAFTA is not only agreement for trade but also for environmental issues and also labor abuse. Okay, and then European Unions, EU. European Union's agreements among major European nations to eliminate or to make uniform most trade barriers affecting group members. Okay, this which is stated in your slide. Okay, this is in between the European countries. Okay, and European Unions is now is the largest free market in the world. Okay, this is for your information. EU is now the largest free market in the world. Okay, next is the world. Sorry. Okay, if you see in your slide here, figure 4.1, the nation of the European Unions. This is the nation of European Unions I mentioned before: Finland, Sweden, France, Spain, Italy. Okay, and then this is the trade agreements. Continue again, which is ASEAN, Southern Asian nations. Okay, Organization for Economy, Political, Socials, and Cultural Cooperations among the Southern Asian nations. Okay. This Asian group has a population over by 575 millions, and the GDP about 2.6 billion. So it's relatively the size Asian hold less a global economic significance than NAFTA and also the EU. Okay, so the trade agreements is include about the political, social, cultures, economy, and so on. Okay, so next is, if you see here figure 4.2, this is the Southern Asian nations. Okay, which is Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Brunei, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, and also Philippines. Okay, next is the trade agreements and alliance in general agreements on tariff and trade. Okay, this international trade international trades agreements to encourage the multilateral reductions or eliminations of the trade barrier. Okay, next is World Trade Organization, WTO. This World Trade Organizations, through which member nations negotiate trade agreements and also resolve dispute about trade policy and practices, which is WTO ni is to promote trade by encouraging members to adopt fair trade practices, to reduce trade barriers by promoting multilateral negotiations, and also to establish fair procedures to solve the dispute. Okay, more likely to protect the local product is under WTO. Okay. Okay, next is, okay, this is the goals of the WTO, World Trade Organization, is to promote trade by encouraging members to adopt fair trade practice. This is what I mentioned before. To reduce the trade barrier by promoting multilateral negotiation, and also to resolve the dispute among the members. Okay. Next is international trade. Okay, international trade and balance of trade. Okay, economy value of all product a country export minus the economy value of the product is import. Okay, that's called balance of trade. Balance of trade, when you want to, if balance of trade, how do you find the balance of trade? Is when the export you minus the imports. Okay, the total of product your country export minus with the economy value of the product. Sorry, not total economy value of product of imports, export. Okay, and then if you get a negative, it shows that is negative result. If a positive result, which is good, which is you. Negative is when you you import more than export. I will explain in the next slide. And positive is where positive is where you import more than export. Sorry, you export more than import. That is positive. Negative is when you import more than export. Okay, I also get all confused already. Okay, next is talk about the major trading partners of the US. Okay, this is also stated in your textbook, table 4.1, major trading partners of the US. Okay, if you see, these are the least major trading in US. The left of the table, if you see, the left of the table shows the 10 largest market for export from the United States. Okay, while the right of the table shows the 10 largest market that import to the United States. Okay, you see, import product come from the other country, which is China, Canada, Mexico. This is the billions. Okay, and the first rank is China, but what US export to the other country is paling banyak, which is to Canada, which is rank number 1, which is 235 billions. Okay, so you can compare how much the US import and how much is the US export. Okay, import from other country and export from their country to other countries. Okay, next I go to international trade. Okay, international trade just now, balance. Okay, same things lah. Is from here, from this slide. Talk about balance of trade. Balance of trade as a country balance of trade in total economic value of all the product that is export minus the economic value of all product that it's imports. Okay, so trade deficit is situation uh, a situation in which a country import exceed its export, creating a negative balance of trade. This is what I mentioned before. Okay, if you see in your textbook or here in your slide, figure 4.4, US trade deficit. Deficit is, you see in between, in this here shows that uh, between 2000 and 2010, okay, there was a deficit in which of this year because more money flow out to pay for foreign imports than flow in to pay for US export. Okay, this is apa when happen when is your import is more than export. Okay, next is trade surplus. Surplus is opposite the deficit. Okay, situation in which a country export exceed the import, creating a positive balance of trade. Okay, so this occur when the countries export exceed its imports. Okay, exceed its imports. So balance of payment is flow of money into and out of the countries. Okay, it's refer to the flow of money into and out from the countries of the countries. Okay, so a country balance of payment result primarily from its balance of trade, to other contributing factors including money spent of by tourists, by foreign aid, and also buying and selling of currencies. Okay, you can see the example in page 142. Okay, page 142 here. Okay, balance of payments. Here stated that United States has a negative balance of trade of 1 million. Now suppose that this year US citizens travel abroad as tourists and spend a total $200,000 in other countries. Okay, this amount gets added to the balance of trade to form a balance payments, which is now negative 1.2 millions of dollars. Now for the supposed that tourists from other countries come to United States and spend the equivalent of $300,000 while they are here. This is had the effect of the reducing the negative balance of payment to $900,000. Okay, one of the example in tourist industry how they they balance the making the balance of payment, which is money in and out. Okay, and then next is exchange rate. Exchange rate is the rate in which a nation currency can exchange for the currency for of another. Okay, here said that rate of which a currency one nation exchange of currency of one nation another nations. Okay, and then the euro is said here. Euro is a common currency shared among the most of the members of the European Union, including Denmark, Sweden, and United Kingdom. Okay, they use euro. Okay, the fixed exchange rate, is it in your slide stated or not about fixed exchange rates? Okay, never mind. Fixed exchange is in your textbook there. Fixed exchange rate is the value, sometimes it's called a peg exchange rate. Okay, is a type of exchange rate regime in which a currency value is fixed or pegged by a monetary authority against the value of another currency. It's a basket of other currencies or another measure of value such as gold. Okay, so this currency remain relatively constant. Okay, with the floating exchange rates, okay, that is fixed. Now floating is the value of country currency relatively to another currency, varies with the market conditions. Okay, so next you go to here talk about, okay, in your textbook also said that throughout most of 2009, the United States criticized China for its inflexible exchange rate policy, China being one of the few countries that still use fixed exchange rates. Okay, this actually fixed exchange rate is to stable your country currency, okay, to avoid inflections. Okay, next is form of competitive advantage. Okay, competitive advantage. Okay, manager um, they need to understand the form of competitive advantage when making decision about international competitions. Okay, so first point here say in your slide is absolute advantage. Absolute advantage is the ability to produce something more efficiently than any other country can. Okay, this is when a country enjoys an absolute advantage where they produce something different from other country in terms of maybe it's cheaper or higher quality from the other country. Okay, in your textbook stated that um, uh, about the product wine, if I'm not mistaken, is page uh, here. Absolute advantage. Okay, Saudi oil, Brazilian coffee beans, and Canadian timber come close because this country have such abundant supplies of these resources. Okay, for example, many experts says that vines, which is wine, of France produce a world finest wines, but the wines business in California demonstrate a producer that can also make good wines. So, for example, wines in France, in California, also they are producing wines, but the best wines, which is maybe in terms of the quality, is in France. Okay, this is one of the example they give. Okay, something which is you are producing the same things, but you are better than them. Okay, this is absolute advantage. Comparative advantage is the ability to produce some product but efficiently than others. Okay, uh, this is which is different product. Okay, a country has comparative advantage in goods that it can be produced more efficiently and better other goods. Okay, if you see in your textbook is page 144 is stated example 144. Okay, if business is in a given country can make computer more efficiently than they can make automobiles, then that nation has a comparative advantage in computer manufacturing. Okay, which is they can make better efficiently then they can make the automobile, so they become as a comparative advantage in computer manufacturing. Okay, this is one of example in your textbook. Okay, and then next is nationals competitive advantage. National competitive advantage derived from factors conditions, demand conditions related and supporting the industry, and also strategy structures and rivalries. Okay, this is derived from these few factors conditions. Okay, so if you see first is talk about factors condition are the factors of production we discussed, which is in chapter 1. Factors condition is like labor, capitals, entrepreneurs, physical resources, and information resources. Demand condition reflects a large domestic consumer base that promotes strong demand for innovative product. Okay, related and supporting industry is include strong local or regional suppliers and or we call industrial customers. Strategic structure and rivalries refer to the firm and industry that stress cost reductions, product quality, higher productivity, and also innovative products. Okay. Next is going international is figure 4.5, is in your textbook also have, which is page 146. Okay, going international. Okay, first is there international demand for the firm product? If no, which is you just stay as domestic. If yes, you can go next step. Can the product be modified to fit the foreign market? If no, you just stay domestic. If yes, then you proceed to the next step, which is the foreign business climate suit to import? If yes, you go proceed. If no, you just stay as a domestic business. Then if yes, you go next is, does the firm have or can it get the necessary skills and knowledge to do business? If no, you just stay as a domestic business. If yes, you can go for international. Okay. Level of international involvement. Okay. Okay, this is before we go international. Okay, this is the part 1, is it? Until part 1. Part 2 is going international. Okay, you have to remember that World Bank classification method of high income. Okay, it's a classification method of high income, upper middle income, low middle income, and low income countries. Okay, and the world economy revolves around 3 major marketplaces, which is I recap again: North America, Europe, and also Asia, which are home to most of the largest economies and corporations, most influential financial markets, and also highest income consumers. Okay, and you also must understand about the trade agreements. Okay, that trade agreements the trade agreement is to remove tariff and other trade barriers in order to promote free trade among countries. Okay, and then you also must understand that the country balance of trade is difference between the country export and imports. Okay, you don't get confused on that. And then one more thing is when the value of export exceed the value of the import, the country enjoys the trade surplus. When the value import is more than value of export, the country suffer from the trade deficits. Okay, and then you also must understand that the balance of payments will reflect in the inflow and also the outflow of the money as a result of the country balance of trade. Okay, so now I move to the next part, which is going international. Just now I already explained, and also level of international involvement. Okay, this one, as I said just now, exporter importer. Exporter is firm that distribute and sell the product to one or more foreign country. Importer is when firm that buys product in foreign market and then import them for or resell in its home countries. Okay, so international firm. Okay, international firm, I will explain one by one. Okay, international firm that conduct a significant portion in business in foreign country. Okay, this is where you can find they are selling their product, their portions of the business in the foreign countries. Multinational firm is the firm that design, produce, and markets product in many nations. okay, in many nations. Example, you can see in your textbooks. um, for example, like international firm just now, in your textbook stated Hershey, for instance, buy ingredients for its chocolates from several foreign supplier, but mix all of its product in the United States. Okay, that's it called international firm. Multinational is, for example, like Nestle, IBM, okay, Ford. Okay, they are design and produce and also market product in many nations. Okay, for example, you can see Nestle, they have manufacturing in Malaysia. Okay, this is called multinational firm. Okay, next is independent agent. Independent agents is in okay, independent agent is foreign individual or organization that agrees to represent an exporter interest. Okay, that's called independent agent. Okay, if you see in your textbook, example, Peter So operates and import-export office in Hong Kong. Okay, he and his staff of 3 handle imports from about 15 foreign companies into Hong Kong and about 10 Hong Kong firms that export product abroad. Okay, this is the independent agent, foreign individual or organization that agrees to represent the exporter interests. Okay, and then which is they are agent who represent their exporter product in particular countries. Okay, and then licensing agreements is a licensing arrangement is arrangement in which firm choose foreign individual or organization to manufacture or market their product in another countries. Okay, this is in your textbook is here. For example, like arrangement of firm which is choose foreign individual or organization to manufacture. For example, like McDonald's, Pizza Hut. Okay, you can see their market, their product in another countries, in another country. Okay, and then next is strategic alliance, which is arrangement in which a company find a foreign partner to contribute approximately half of the resources needed to establish operate a new business in the partner country. It's called as a joint venture. Okay, it seems like as a joint venture. Okay, for example, here in your textbook also stated joint venture like Ford and Russian's automaker Sollers recently launched a new joint venture. Sollers will manufacture Ford product in Russia, and the two partners will then work together on marketing them. Okay, one of the example of the strategy alliance, which is joint venture. Foreign direct investment is where arrangement in which a firm buy or establish tangible asset in another country. Okay, for example, in your textbook it said that Dell Computer, for example, has built assembly plant in Europe and also China. Like Volkswagen has built a factory in Brazil. Example, like Disneyland, you can find a theme park in France and also Hong Kong. Okay, this is example of foreign direct investments. Okay, next is barrier. This is barrier to international trade. Barrier of international trade is still in part 2, is it? Barrier of international trade. Okay. So this is advantage. Okay. So just now I already complete about uh, the going international. Okay, going international just now here. Actually, in your textbook, going to international, they have explanation about gauging international demand, adapting to customer needs, and also sourcing and offshoring, which is in your textbook, page 146. Okay, actually saya data I termiss. Okay, I will explain about gauging international demand. Okay, gauging international. Okay, going international. Not every business is prepared to go international. Okay, a major decision factor in the business climate of other countries. Okay, the factors which is gauging international demand, which is foreign demand of a company. For a company, product may be greater than, the same as, or weaker than domestic demand. Okay, so determining the international demand may require market research or any prior market entry of competitors. Okay, which is this which mean is permintaan foreign country itu is lebih tinggi if compared to domestic demand. Okay, that's called gauging international demand. Adapting to customer demand needs is product modification may be required to meet the standard of various countries. Okay, you have to modify the product based on the country needs or the country demands. However, outsourcing or outsourcing is practice of paying supplier and distributors to perform the certain business process or to provide needed material or services. Okay, which is you outsource other company, other supplier to complete your products. Okay, offshoring is involve outsourcing to other countries. Okay, I hope you are clear about the going to international, all these factors. Okay, things that you need to clearly understand is the company must take 3 decisions when they considering globalization. First, whether to go international at all. Second is level of international involvement, and 3 is organization structure. Okay, make sure you are not confused outsourcing with offshoring. Okay, a US company can outsource to another US company. Offshoring always implies outsourcing to other countries. Okay, so don't get confused on that. And then international strategic partnership is one of a good way to develop local knowledge to 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 gauge market demand. Okay, so local expert is a better position to gauge likely market demand, also future trend, because they is a better positions to understand and also to interpret how local cultural factors can affect the demand issues. Okay, and then we can move to just now the level of international involvement, which is international firm, multinational firm, independent agent, licensing arrangement, apa dia, brand here. Okay, strategic alliances. Okay, foreign direct investment. Okay, okay, foreign direct investment. Okay, next is barrier to international trade. Okay, before that you must, okay, the independent agent of the, okay, the independent agent this one is often act as a sales representative. Okay, that is called independent agent, sales representative. Okay, anything else yang I termiss? Okay, hopefully now. Okay, now we go for the barriers to international trade. Okay, barriers to international trade, they have okay, success in the foreign markets includes a firm ability to respond to social, cultural, economy, economy differences, social differences, cultural differences, and legal differences, and also political differences. Okay, so here we talk about social, culture, and cultural differences. Okay, this barrier include all plethora of differences in language, religions, perceptions, shopping patterns, and so on. Okay, this is between and among the different populations. Okay, it talks about, if you remember, it already I already explained in chapter 1. Okay, and then economic differences also already explained in chapter 1. Okay, when the trading with the different types of economic system, firm must be aware of the level of government involvement in the given industry. Okay, like economy system. Okay, the trading with the different types of economy system, for example, planned economy, market economy, mixed market economy, or privatizations. Okay, however, legal and political differences, this is talk about government can present many trade barriers in international business, including the control of the flow of the capital and the use of the tax legislations, which is to encourage or discourage global activity in the given industry. Okay, so if you see, there have few of the quotas, tariff, and also subsidies, which is provided by the governments. Okay, involved with the governments, government involvement we call. Okay, quota is restrictions of the numbers of the product of a certain type that can be imported into a country. Okay, quota is restrict the number of the product of the certain type that can be imported into a country. Okay, they call quota. Okay, however, the embargo is a government order forbidding exportations and importations of a particular product, okay, from the specific countries. This is when embargo is the government control forbidding exportation or importation of the product which is can harm, or the content of the product, maybe they can control. For example, like the portions of the content of the product, like alcohol, we have our specific how much is the alcohol can contain in the product. So if there's more lebih, maybe it cannot enter to our country, our market. Okay, one of the example. Okay, embargo. And then tariff is a tax placed on imports. This tariff directly affect the price by raising the price of imports. Okay, subsidy is a form of indirect tariff. It's a government payment to help a domestic firm to compete with a foreign firm. Okay, subsidy. Okay, protectionism is where protectionism is where is practice of protecting domestic business at the expense of the free market competitions, and is controversial. Okay, it's controversial. So its supporters argue the tariff and quotas protect the domestic firm. Various the critics cite protectionism as a source of frictions between nations. Okay, is to protect the domestic. It's actually protectionism is to protect the domestic product. Okay, is to protect the domestic product in order to compete with the market competition, free market competitions. Okay, and then local content law is many countries including like US have local content law. Okay, requirement that products sold in particular country are partially made there. Okay, this guarantee that percentage of profit remain in the countries. For example, like in our country, KFC, okay, Kentucky Fried Chicken. In Malaysia, partnership with the Johor Corporation. Now it's under Johor Corporations. So Johor Corporation what make the product, the food in our country, and the profit remain in the countries. Okay, so next is business practice law, which is many businesses entering new market encounter problem in complying with the stringent regulations and bureaucratic obstacles. Okay, so such as practice are affected by the business practice law, by which host country govern business practice within their jurisdiction. So in business, so they have a law practice. So some of the business they encounter problem in practice or in comply the business law. Okay, and then cartels and dumping. Cartel and dumpings is associate of the producer that control supply and price. Okay, this is associate of producers that control supplies and also the prices. Okay, but many countries forbid dumping. Okay, which is selling a product abroad for less than the cost of production at home. Okay, that's called dumping. Like United States law forbid both cattle and also dumping. Okay, so in this part you must understand about the multinational companies, carefully monitor the economy issues such as population size, the growth, the economies, the political stability, the level of corruption, and the nations of geographical location in order to making the foreign direct investment decisions. Okay, okay, there's a one key that role of the World Trade Organization is to World Trade Organization, World WTO, is to free up the international trade. Okay, hopefully you guys are clear about this chapter. If you have any questions, you may ask. And thank you very much.